Hi everyone, and welcome to another Mustang update. It's been just over 2 months since we started working our Mustangs, and it's hard to believe that there's only 1 month of training left. A lot has happened since our last update. Let's take a look at Emily's progress first. Emily wanted to take Melody off property to get her used to going new places in preparation for the show, so we went to Silverglade Riding Hall last weekend. Emily and Melody have been spending a lot of time on leading to make sure that she has that down solid for the handling and conditioning and in-hand trail classes. She's introduced small obstacles such as poles to get Melody used to stepping over things. It was pretty quiet, so Emily was able to see how Melody did in a new environment with something else that they've been working on, Liberty. Melody was very distracted at first and wanted to check out everything in the arena, but after a few minutes, Emily was able to get her to focus and their work began. Emily's hard work has really paid off. She's been able to get Melody to free lunge in a circle around her, as well as follow her when she jogs away. Emily has been pretty tight-lipped about her plans for their freestyle routine, but I wouldn't be surprised if Liberty work is part of it. Hannah, my other student who's competing in the adult division, has made great progress with her mare, too. She's been taking Sparrow on a lot of trail rides, both solo and with other riders, to really build her confidence in new places. She often rides her down to the beach at Fort Pinta, and she recently asked me to accompany her. We rode down together, her on Sparrow and me on Cookie, my paint mare, and made our way over to the docks. I was a bit skeptical when Hannah first told me about her plan, but we loaded onto the ferry to Cape West without a hitch. Hannah mentioned that she's been taking Sparrow up to the ferries, but not getting on them to get her used to the sound, so it makes sense why she was so relaxed. The ferry ride enabled us to get to a place where we can't usually go, Golden Leaf Stables. It's such a long and windy drive that I don't like trailering out there too often, but the ferry was the perfect way to shorten the trip. Once we were at the stables, we got permission to set up a couple jumps. They did a quick warm-up to loosen up Sparrow's muscles from the ferry ride, and then got to work. Sparrow isn't a huge fan of ground poles, but after a few attempts, Hannah was able to convince her that they weren't going to eat her. Sparrow soon got the hang of it, and before we left, Hannah even popped her over a small jump. Back home in Silverglade, I've been making progress with my Mustang too. Orchid has gotten to the point where she's approaching new objects with curiosity rather than fear, which has been excellent for obstacle work. We've spent a lot of time going over poles, weaving through cones, and even going over a bridge. One of my favorite obstacles to do with her is backing up through the chute. She wasn't a huge fan of the chute at first, so we started with the wider alley. The poles were further apart, lower to the ground, and looked less solid, which made it less stressful as Orchid got used to the feeling of being somewhat trapped. We made great progress, and the next day, we successfully tackled the chute. Orchid is very sensitive and has excellent finesse, making precision work like that easy. We've also been working on pivoting and sharp stops, which are both required in the maneuvers class as well as the freestyle. Pivoting came easy, but the hard stops were a bit more of a challenge. Orchid would stop, but she was a bit confused by the cue, so she wouldn't stop right away. It took us a few tries, but after using a pole as a guide, we were able to get some successful stops that were perfectly timed. With just a month of training left, we're all starting to feel a bit of pressure. However, with the horses' training going so well, I'm confident that we'll all be ready in time for the show. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for our next update.